Hello everyone. For this module, we will now divide monomials. So that's our objective for today. We will try to divide monomials using laws of exponents. So let me present to you first the continuation of our laws of exponents, the different what if when we divide monomials. So our first what if we divide exponents with like bases? So I will label here case 1 because there are three cases when we divide exponents with like bases. So let's go through with it. So we have here three columns that will show to us the given on the leftmost part. And the middle part, we usually expand them and cancel out the common factors in the numerator and denominator to get our answer, which is our quotient. So let us try 3 cubed divided by 3 squared. So based from what we know before, we can write 3 cubed as 3 times 3 times 3 and 3 squared as 3 times 3. And we cancel out one set of 3's in the numerator and denominator, another 3. And what is left is just 1 3. So the quotient is a 3. Now what if the base would now be a variable? So we have here m to the power 5 divided by m squared. So we expand m to the power 5 as 5m's and m squared as 2m's in here. So we cancel out one set of m and another set of m here. So what is left is 3m's. Okay, so that means m cubed. And x to the power of 7 over x cubed, that means 7x's in the numerator and 3x's in the denominator. We cancel out one set of x, another set, and another set. So what is left is 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 x's in here, so that means x to the power of 4. Now, my challenge to you is to find a shortcut to get the quotient without writing it in an expanded form, like this in the middle. So how do we make sure that from the given, we immediately provide the quotient? So kindly pause the video and find a pattern to get the quotient right away. Okay, I assume this time you have your own shortcut. But let's try to verify if what you're thinking is correct or not. So I will not reveal to you first what's the shortcut, but let's give it a try. So let's have number 1. What is x to the power of 11 divided by x cubed? Okay, that's correct. X to the power of 8. Okay. How about a to the power of 6 divided by a? Okay, that's correct. The answer is a to the power of 5. Okay, how about y to the power of 9 divided by y to the power of 6? Okay, that's correct. Y cubed. Now, if you got the same answer, so perhaps you're thinking of the correct shortcut. But if not, try to pause this video and figure out how we get the quotient without going through with the expanded form. So for those who got it already, my question is, when exponents with like bases are divided, what happens to the exponents? Yes, that will lead us to quotient rule under case 1. So for any non-zero real number a and for any integers m and n, so we have here a to the power of n over a to the power of n. And what we do is we just copy the common base, which is a for now, and then we subtract our exponents. So what if our exponent here is m and then we have an n as an exponent here in the denominator. So we simply subtract them. That's the rule. But wait, what makes it a case 1? This will only happen if the m is greater than the n. So going back to our examples a while ago, so our shortcut is simply 11 minus 3. You'll get 8, 6. Then remember, an a without any exponent with it, it's understandable that it's 1. 6 minus 1 is 5. 9 minus 6, 3. So take note that we can apply case 1 under quotient rule if the ones in the numerator, the exponent is greater than the ones in the denominator. So 11 is greater than a 3. The ones in the numerator is 6 greater than a 1. Then 9 is greater than a 6. So we simply write x here, a, and y. If this one happens. So let's try several examples. So here, number 1, x to the power of 7 over 8 to the power of 5. So since they have the same base 8 and the exponents here, if we compare them, 7 is greater than a 5. That means we simply put an 8 in here and then we subtract the exponents. 7 minus 5 is 2. Then 8 squared is 64. How about here in number 2? So we have two bases involved already, but we're just dividing monomial with a monomial. Because you don't see a plus or a minus. But there are two bases already. So what we do, we just divide those bases which are the same. Here we have m first. So m to the power 7 divided by m to the power 4. Notice that 7 is greater than a 4. So we simply write m and then we subtract the exponents. And for n, same thing, 3 is greater than a 1. So we simply put the n here and then subtract the exponents 3 and 1. So you will get m cubed n squared. Okay, number 3. So we have here a monomial divided by a monomial because you still don't see a plus or a minus. But there are bases already, a lot of bases actually. We have a, b, and 18, which is our coefficient. Here we have 6, a, and b. So what do we do? So we'll do it slowly. Separate the coefficients. Think as if you're just dividing them separately from those variables a and b. So negative 18 divide by 6. Okay, as simple as that. And then afterwards, you deal with the a. The ones in the numerator, the exponent 4 is greater than the ones in the denominator a with an exponent 1. So that means you simply put an a, then subtract the exponents. Then we proceed to the b now. Okay, here, b. 3 is greater than a 1 if you notice. So that means you put the b here and then subtract. Okay. Now, negative 18 divided by 6 is negative 3. Then, this will become a cube because 4 minus 1 is 3. And b, 3 minus 1 is a 2. Okay, there you go. Now, let's proceed to our case 2. But still, we're dealing with the what if we divide exponents with like bases. Let's try to figure out what makes them different from each other from our previous case. So take note, this is our case 1. Then this is now case 2. So this time, if the ones in the numerator has a greater value compared to the exponent in the denominator, so what if we interchange them? What if here 2 is less than a 3? Okay? So what happens? If we follow our prior knowledge, we can just expand them, right? But 3 squared is 3 times 3, where 3 cubed is 3 times 3 times 3. We cancel out. So everything in the numerator is canceled out. That means it's just a 1. Then in the denominator you have a 3. So the quotient is 1/3. So unlike from our case 1, 3 is greater than a 2. Okay, the ones in the numerator. Here, m squared divided by m to the power of 5. So previously, it's the other way around. But what if we interchange them? So what happens to the quotient this time? So that's m times m for m squared. Then m to the power of 5 is m times m times m times m times m. We cancel out two sets of m. And everything in the numerator is cancelled out. So we put a 1. And then we have 3 m's in the denominator. So 1 over m cubed. And finally, same pattern, x cubed divided by x to the power of 7. We cancel the 3 x's in the numerator. Same in the denominator. Everything in the numerator is cancelled out, so we put a 1. Then we have 4 x's in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, x to the power of 4. Now, try to figure out what happens if in case it fits into case 2. But again, we're dealing here with bases which are the same. So pause this video and make a shortcut or try to figure out what to do if this one happens. If the ones in the numerator in terms of its exponent is less than the ones in the denominator. Here, 3 is less than 7. Unlike from our case 1, 7 is greater than a 3, the ones in the numerator. 5 is greater than a 2. Okay, let's verify if what you're thinking is correct or not. So we have here number 1, m to the power of 9 divided by m squared. Our answer is m to the power of 7. So it's m to the power of 7. Remember, this is just case 1. 9 is greater than a 2. Okay, let's have case number 2. b cubed divided by b to the power of 11. Okay, that's correct. The answer is 1 over b to the power of 8. So it's 1 over b to the power of 8 because we cannot just say b to the power of 8 because this time 3, the ones in the numerator, is less than 11. Okay, how about here? W to the power of 10 divided by w to the power of 4 is equal to w to the power of 6. Because 10 again is greater than a 4. So we just write the w in here. Okay, number 4. K to the power of 6 divided by k to the power of 15. That's equal to 1 over k to the power of 9. So take note, 6 is less than a 15. How about number 5? Y to the power of 9 divided by y to the power of 6. So that's y cubed. Because 9 is greater than a 6. Then how about c to the power of 8 divided by c to the power of 10? This is 1 over c squared. Because again, 8 is greater than a 10. Less than a 10. So, when exponents with like bases are divided, wherein the exponent in the numerator is greater than the exponent in the denominator, what happens to the answer result? Okay, that's correct. This will lead us to a conclusion that case 2 is simply a to the power of m divided by n to the power of n is equal to 1 over a to the power of n minus m, because it is expected that n is greater than the m. This one happens if the m here in the numerator is greater than the ones in the denominator, is less than the ones in the denominator n. So instead of putting the a in the numerator, we put the common base, in the denominator. What will be left in the numerator? Just a 1. Okay, so looking back in this set of examples, so notice that here, because the 9 is greater than the 2, that's why we put the m in the numerator as well. Or just write m without any consideration of a fraction. Then 9 minus 2 is 7. Here, 10 is greater than a 4. So 10 minus 4, 6. And then the w, no fraction needed. Then 9 is greater than a 6. So that's a 3. So we put the y here because it's case 1. But if it's in case 2, just like this, 11 is, 3 is less than an 11. So instead of putting the b on top, we put the b on the denominator. Still, we subtract the exponents 11 and 3. But again, you put the b in the denominator. Same here, 6 is less than a 15. So case 2. So we put the k here in the denominator. Same here, 8 is less than a 10. We still subtract 10 and 8, but we put the c in the denominator. Okay, ano yung best way na matatandaan ko yung cases natin, or ano yung gagawin natin pag ginagamit natin yung quotient rule? So just remember, okay, which one is a great, kung ano yung mas may malaking exponent, doon natin ilalagay yung ating variable. So for example, alam natin na mas malaki si 9. So ilalagay natin kung saan siya nakalagay, sa numerator. So that's why we also put the result here in the numerator. Dito, we know that 11 is greater than a 3. So that means that hindi natin ilalagay sa numerator yung b natin, but instead, dito sa baba. Kasi nasa baba naman yung ating b to the power of 11. And 11 is greater than a 3, as I said. Same here. K to the power of 15, mas malaki yung 15 kaysa sa 6. Ilalagay natin yung k sa baba. Dito, number 3, alam natin na yung w, mas malaki yung exponent niya compared sa nasa baba. So, ilalagay natin si w sa numerator din. Okay, then usual, subtract. Okay, punta na tayo sa ating case 3, yung panghuli nating case for divide exponents with like bases. So this will be quite easy because if you notice, 3 cubed over 3 cubed. Notice that they have the same base, they also have same exponents. So what happens if that's the situation? So remember the 3 cubed is 3 times 3 times 3, same with in the denominator. We cancel out everything. That means the result is just a 1. So what if it's a variable? The exponents are equal. So if we expand that, there are 5 m's in the numerator, 5 m's in the denominator. We cancel out everything. That means 1 will be left. Same here, in x to the power of 7 divided by x to the power of 7. So pause this video and try to think of a shortcut, okay, to get the result if this one happens. Okay, very good. Let's give it a try. So what is x to the power of 11 divided by x to the power of 11? It's a 1. How about 8 to the power of 5 divided by 8 to the power of 5? It's again 1. Y to the power of 9 divided by y to the power of 9 is equal to what? Okay, very good. That's a 1. So, if you notice, this time, the exponents are the same. And always it results to a 1. That gives us our last case for quotient rule. If the exponents are equal, then everything will be cancelled out. Automatically, it's 1. So, ito yung ating tatlong case. Yung mas malaki, M. So, ilalagay natin si A sa numerator. Then, subtract the exponents. Dito, mas malaki si N. Kaya ilalagay natin yung A sa baba, denominator. Then, we still subtract the exponents. Here, kung magkapareho lang yung exponents, automatically it's 1. Okay, let's try several examples. So here, divide k to the power 4 n squared over k to the power 4 n to the power 5. So notice that for k, they have the same exponents. So that's automatically 1. So you don't have to write 1 here. Here, n squared divided by n to the power 5. Notice that 2 is less than a 5. So this is case 2. We put the n in the denominator because 5 is greater than a 2. So just subtract 5 minus 2. But the ones in the numerator, what will be left is just a 1. So 5 minus 2 is 3. So 1 over n cubed. So take note ha, kung mas malaki yung 5 natin dito sa baba, ibig sabihin yung n squared makakancel out yat lahat. So walang matitira dyan. Kaya 1 lang. For k, kung pareho lang yung exponents nila, lahat ng k natin makakancel out. Walang natira sa numerator, kaya 1 lang yung nakalagay sa numerator natin. Okay, so this is the answer. Okay, let's proceed to number 2. Okay, now a to the power 4, c to the power 7 divided by c to the power of 8. So what did you notice? We don't have a in the denominator, right? So that means you will not do anything with the a because it doesn't have same base here in the denominator. So leave it as it is. While for c, okay, c 7 is less than an 8. So this is case 2. In other words, 8 is greater than a 7. So we put the c in the denominator. Then we subtract the exponents with those bases with c. So 8 minus 7, because this will be cancelled out. So 8 minus 7 is 1, or simply c. Okay, let's proceed to number 3. So for m, okay, we have m to the power of 10, m to the power of 8, p to the power of 9, divided by m to the power of 10, n to the power of 11, p. So let's start with m. We'll do it slowly, one variable at a time. So we have m here, but the exponents are the same. That means it will be cancelled out and it will result to a 1. Next, for n to the power of 8 divided by n to the power of 11. So si 8 less than 11. So this is case 2. Mas malaki si 11, kaya makakancel out lahat ng ating n to the power of 8. At yung matitira na sa baba na lang. So subtract lang natin yung exponent, 11 minus 8. So that's 1 in the numerator. Sunod naman yung p. P to the power of 9 divided by p. Pero mas malaki si 9 kaysa sa 1. So yung nasa baba ang makakancel out. At yung matitira nasa numerator. Subtract lang natin yung exponent, 9 minus, don't forget may exponent dito na 1. So 9 minus 1. Then we subtract, no need to write the 1. 9 minus 1 is 8. N to the power of 11 minus 8 is 3. So this is our answer. P to the power of 8 over n cubed. Okay, let's have more examples. Okay, number 1. 16a cubed, b to the power of 9, c to the power of 4, d to the power of 9, divided by 24b squared, c to the power of 7, d to the power of 9. So, una sa lahat, doon tayo sa ating mga coefficients. Okay, 16 divided by 2 is 8. Sunod, dun tayo sa, ay sorry, 24 pala ito. Hindi pala siya 16 divided by 2. 16 over 24. Okay, paano natin masisimplify natin tong 16 over 24? So take note, yung 16 natin is just 4 times 4. 24 is 4 times 6. Okay. Teka lang. Sige, okay lang naman yan. So, 4 times 4, then 4 times 6. So, makakancel out yung 4 natin kasi common. And then, for 4 over 6, masisimplify pa natin yan kasi yung 4 natin, 2 times 2. And then, yung 6 natin is 3 times 2. So, makakancel out yung isang set ng 2. Yung matitira is 2 over 3. Okay, ayan. Punta tayo sa A. Walang A sa baba. So that means just leave it as it is. Then, proceed tayo sa ating B. Ito. B to the power of 9 divided by B squared. Pero mas malaki si 9. Okay, 9 is greater than 2. So case 1 ito. Lalagyan natin si B sa numerator. Maka-cancel out lahat ng nasa baba. So B squared. So 9 minus 2. Sunod, yung C. C to the power 4 divided by C to the power 7. C4 is less than 7. So, ilalagay natin si C sa baba. Kasi case 2. Then, subtract natin yung exponent 7 minus 4. So, makakancel out lahat ng C to the power 4 dito sa itaas. And then, finally, D to the power of 9 divided by D to the power of 9, magkapareho yung exponents nila. So, case 3. So, magiging 1. Or in other words, makakancel out lahat. So, simplify na natin. That's 2a cubed. 9 minus 2 is 7. Then, 7 minus 4 is 3. So, 3c cubed. Okay, try tayo ng another, isa pa. Okay, so, we have negative 25x cubed y to the power of 9, z to the power of 4, divided by 15x to the power of 8, z to the power of 9. So, unahin natin yung mga coefficients natin, negative 25 over 15. So, paano natin yan masisimplify? So, just like before, we factor out. 15 is 5 times 3. Yung 25 naman natin, 5 times 5. But wag natin kalimutan na negative ha. Huwag natin kalimutan yan. So, merong common factor sa numerator at denominator, which is 5. So, cancel out natin. Yung natira is yung negative, yung isang 5, at saka yung 3 natin. Then, sunod naman, punta tayo sa ating x. Yung mga may base na x. It's x cubed divided by x to the power of 8. So, don't forget, yung fraction bar natin is division yan. Si 3 is less than an 8. So, ibig sabihin, case 2. Lagay natin si x sa baba, makakancel out lahat ng nasa numerator. And 8 minus 3, 4x. Then, for y, walang y sa baba. So, mag-isa lang siya sa numerator. So, copy y to the power of 9. Then, for z, okay, ito yung z. 4 is less than a 9. So, meaning case 2 ulit. Lagay natin si z sa baba. Then, we subtract the exponents. 9, the bigger number, 9, minus 4, smaller number. So, negative 5y to the power of 9 over 3x to the power of 8 minus 3 is 5. Then for z, 9 minus 4 is 5 also. So this is our answer. 5y to the power of 9 over 3x to the power of 5, z to the power of 5. Okay, punta tayo sa ating second law or second what if. What if we raise a quotient to a power? So for example, we have here the square of 3 over m to the power 4. So kung nakikita ninyo yung dalawang base natin na 3 at saka m, division yung nasa gitna, and then both of them are being raised to a power of 2. So, so kung wala pa tayong knowledge sa laws of exponent, from before, okay, yung prior knowledge natin, we just have to expand it. Meaning, you have to multiply 3 over m to the power 4 by itself twice. And then, ano yung ginagawa natin before? Numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So this is in continuation of our previous laws of exponent. So what is 3 times 3? That's 3 squared. And m to the power 4 times m to the power 4, since multiplication, i-add nyo lang yung exponents natin at 4 and 4. 4 plus 4, 8. That's what we do if the operation is multiplication. So don't forget, bakit tayo nagmo-multiply ng mga numerators? Multiplying fraction means numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. Okay, paano naman kung the cube of x squared over y cube? Ibig sabihin nun, yung x squared over y cube, we multiply it by itself 3 times. Then numerator times numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator times denominator. So yung result, x to the power of 6 because parehas naman sila ng bases. So 2 plus 2 plus 2. And then dito, y cube times y cube times y cube is 3 plus 3 plus 3. So 9, 6. And then we also have another example, but I just want you to figure out your own way to get the quotient right away without going through with the expanded form. So how do we get the quotient right away? So pause this video. Okay, so I assume this time you have your own conclusion, and let's try to verify if what you've concluded is correct or not. Okay, number 1. What is the ninth root of k cubed? What is the k to the power of 3 over m to the power of 4 quantity raised to a power of 9? Or what is the ninth power of k cubed over m to the power of 4? Hindi pala root yung gagamitin, so mali yun. So please erase that concept. So, yung tamang sagot is k to the power of 27 over m to the power of 36. Let's proceed to number 2. What is the third root of a cubed over b to the power of 4? The answer is a to the power of 9 over b to the power of 12. And then, what is the fourth power of c to the power of 5 divided by d to the power of 4? Answer is c to the power of 20 over d to the power of 16. So, tanong ko ngayon, ano yung mangyayari kapag ang quotient is erase natin into a power? Yes, that's correct. You just have to multiply the exponents. Think as if you're distributing it to all of the exponents in both in our numerator and in our denominator. So this is what we call power rule for quotient. So if a and b are real numbers with b is not equal to 0 and m is a positive integer, then the m power of a over 5 is simply a to the power of m over b to the power of m. So yung exponents ng ating a kasi is 1, exponent ng ating b is 1 din. So m times 1, m. M times 1 ulit, so m. Kaya naging ganyan. So, try natin sumagot na mga examples dito. So what is the fourth power of a cube divided by b to the power 5? So yun nga, meron tayong dalawang base and then division. And then both of them are being raised to a power 4. Yung gagawin is a to the power of 3 times 4, b to the power of 5 times 4. So, 3 times 4 is 12, 5 times 4 is 20. So this is our answer. Okay, number 2. The fifth power of x cubed y divided by z to the power 5. So, yung base natin na x, i-multiply natin siya by, yung exponent niya na 3, i-multiply natin siya by 5. Yung exponent ng ating y, which is 1, multiply din natin siya by 5. And then yung z naman natin na base, we multiply also the exponent 5 with the 5 in here. So our answer is x to the power 15, y to the power 5, over z to the power of 25. Okay, punta tayo sa number 3 natin. What is the cube of 2d cube over 3e to the power 4f? So, same pa rin. Pero take note, kasali yung 2 natin kasi ibang base yan. So, 2 to the power of 1 times 3, 3 lang naman yon. For d, may exponent siya na 3. Then, multiply natin sa 3 ulit. Dito naman sa denominator, yung base natin is 3. So, exponent niya is 1. So, 1 times 3, 3 pa rin. For e, that's 4 times 3. For f, may exponent niya na 1. Multiply lang natin siya by 3. So, ano yung 2 cube natin? Hindi yan 6 ha? 2 cube is not 6. Because 2 cube means 2 times 2 times 2. And that is 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So, 8. Then D, 3 times 3, 9. Then, 3 cube. Again, 3 cube is not 9. Hindi yan 3 times 3. Ibig sabihin yan, 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3, 9. 9 times 3, 27. So, 27E to the power of 4 times 3, 12. F, 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, just a hot question. What is x to the power of 0 and y? Okay, the answer is 1. So you might be asking of a reason why it's 1. Anything raised to the power of 0 is just 1. It's because, for example, if we have x cubed divided by x cubed, okay, yung ginagawa natin is we subtract the exponents, right? 3 minus 3 is 0. And as we all know, in expanded form, x cubed divided by x cubed is just x times x times x over x times x times x. Then we cancel out. 1, 2, 3. So ano yung matitira? Just 1. Kaya x to the power of 0 is just 1. Okay. So this is our next law. We call it a zero exponent. If a is any non-zero real number, then a to the power of 0 is 1. Okay. Sunod naman, what if yung exponent natin negative? So, ano yung x to the power of negative 2 natin? X to the power of negative 2 is just 1 over x squared. Okay? So, siguro nagtataka kayo kung bakit naging 1 over x to the power of 2 siya. So, ito yung reason kung bakit. So let's have an example. So let's say x to the power of 5 over x to the power of 8. Diba sa ating law kanina, 8 is greater than a 5. So that's why ilalagay natin yung x natin sa baba, makakancel out yung nasa itaas. Then 8 minus 5 is 3. Then walang natira sa ibabaw, so naging 1 over x cube. At teka lang, gagawin na natin siyang 7 para makarelate kayo. Sige, 2 na lang. 7 na lang. Then 7 minus 5 is 2. Kung hindi natin alam yung mga cases, yung gagawin lang naman natin sana is we copy the common x, then we subtract the exponents. 5 minus 7. Pero ano yung 5 minus 7 natin? That's the same as 5 plus negative 7. So x is equal to negative 2. So that means they're just the same. It will lead you to this. So kung meron tayong negative na exponent, yung gagawin lang natin is ililipat lang natin siya dun sa baba. So kung nasa numerator siya, negative yung exponent, lagay lang natin siya dun sa denominator, and then we can already change that exponent into positive. And similar, if nasa baba naman yung a na may negative exponent, ilalagay natin siya sa numerator. So parang ganito. So parang 1 over a to the power of negative m. So para maging positive yung exponent, lagay natin siya sa numerator. And walang matitira sa denominator, so 1 na lang. Anong mangyayari doon sa sign ng ating exponent? Magiging positive na. Okay, let's give it a try. So don't forget, anything raised to the power of 0 is just 1. So whether negative 125 is equal to raised to the power of 0, 1 pa rin yun. Or negative 5 to the power of 0, we can write it as negative 5 to the power of 0, but negative times 0 is just 0. Okay? Ay, sorry. Hindi pala 0. So 1. 1 and then negative times 1 is negative 1. So kaya ang sagot natin negative 1. So I will repeat that. Anything raised to 0 is 1. But since the base of this exponent 0 is just the 5, not including the negative, kasi walang parenthesis, so 5 raised to 0 lang yan. So yung negative nasa labas ng parenthesis. So result niyan is 1. Negative times 1 is negative 1. Okay, ano naman yung 5x to the power of 0 natin? So that will result to 5x lang. Kasi yung may exponent na 0, yung y lang ang may exponent na may 0. So hindi kasali si 5 and x. Yung exponent ni 5 is 1, exponent ni x is 1. So 1 times 5x is just 5x. How about 3 to the power of negative 2? Ano yung mangyayari? That is simply 1 over 9. So, kung nagtataka kayo kung bakit naging 1 over 9, so, kasi the rule says that to make the exponent negative, kasi mahirap namang intindihin yung exponent na negative, di ba? Kaya ginagawa natin siyang positive. And negative exponent law says that you just have to transfer it in the other part of the fraction. Nasa numerator siya, so ilalagay natin yung 3 sa denominator para maging positive na yung exponent natin. So, mas gets natin kung ano yung meaning ng 3 squared. Because 3 squared means 3 times 3. So, 1 over 3 times 3. And we get 1 over 9. Okay, how about here? We have negative x to the power of negative 2. So, first of all, don't forget na wala tayong parenthesis dito. So, yung negative natin, hindi yan part ng ating x. So, yung ililipat lang natin sa baba, kasi may exponent siya na negative 2, is yung x lang. Matitira yung negative natin sa numerator. So, yung x to the power of negative 2 magiging x squared. Okay, number 6. So, this time, enclose na natin in parenthesis yung negative x natin and they're being raised to a negative 2. That's a time that we can simply transfer. Okay, may typo lang dito, no? So, yes. Please disregard this negative, okay? Ito. Kasi yung mangyayari, magiging 1 over negative x squared. Then, the square of negative x is x squared. So this, let's try to summarize all the laws of exponent that we have just discussed. Quotient rule, there are 3 cases. So don't forget, it depends. Kung mas malaki yung si m, ilalagay natin si a sa numerator. Kung mas malaki si n na nasa denominator, ilalagay natin si a sa denominator. And 1 lang sa numerator. Kapag pareho naman yung exponents natin, equal lang, ibig sabihin makakancel out lahat and then magiging 1. Okay, power rule for quotient. If there's a quotient here inside of parentheses and it's being raised to a power, that means you just have to multiply the m to each exponents of our bases here. So m times 1, m times 1 here because exponent of b is 1, so m. The negative exponent says that you just have to transfer it to the other part of the fraction to make the exponent positive. Then 0 exponent, anything raised to 0 is equal to 1. So example number 1. You have 3n to the power of 4. So let's copy that first. Divided by quantity 3n to the power of 4, quantity raised to the power of 3, times the quantity of n to the power of negative 1, quantity raised to the power of negative 2. So what we need to do first, we just have to apply power rule for product. Kasi meron tayong dalawang base dito, 3 at n. So, magiging 3 to the power of 3, kasi yung exponent ng ating 3 dito is 1. And 1 times 3 is 3. And then, n to the power of 4. Yan yung ikalawang base natin. I-multiply natin yung 4 with 3. And then, dito naman, we just have to use power rule. Isa lang naman yung base natin, n. So, i-multiply natin yung negative 1 at saka negative 2. And then, we will get 3 cubed is 27. So, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Then, for n, 4 times 3 is 12. Then, negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. So now, we have same bases here, and the operation between them is multiplication. So yung gagawin natin is product law. I-add lang natin yung mga exponents nila. So it will result to 27n to the power of 14. Okay. Now, as you can see, meron tayong division dito. And we're dividing n to the power 4 and n to the power 14. So, sino yung mas malaki na exponent? So, yung nasa denominator, which is the 14. So, meaning case 2. So, yung nasa itaas everything will be cancelled out. Ito, n to the power 4. Then we just have to put the n in the denominator. So magiging, merong n dito sa baba. Then 14 minus 4 is 10. Dito naman sa ating 3 at saka 27, yung 27 kasi natin, pwede natin siyang isulat as 9 times 3. So we can cancel out already the 3 in the numerator and denominator. So ano yung matitira? Meron tayong 9 sa denominator. Sa numerator naman, walang natira. So that's why it's just 1. So yung tamang sagot is 1 over 9n to the power of 10. Okay, proceed tayo sa example 2. Ito yung given natin. 4x squared times the cube of 2x squared over 4x to the power 4x quantity raised to the power of negative 1. So, copy muna natin yung given natin. And then afterwards, kung napapansin ninyo, yung may exponent na negative 1, ito talagang 4x kasi may parenthesis. Hindi lang x, hindi lang 4. But both of them because of the parenthesis. So, ibig sabihin, following negative exponent na law, magiging positive 1 yan kung ililipat natin. So, nasa denominator siya. So, pag inilipat na natin siya sa numerator, magiging positive 1 na siya. Okay, that's negative law exponent. Then, next, what you do next is power rule of product. Ito. So, magiging 2 cube times x to the power of 2 times 3. Kasi dalawa yung base natin, 2 at saka x. So, magiging 2 cube is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. Then, multiply lang natin yung mga coefficients muna. That's 4 times 8 times 4. This is 128. Then for x squared plus 6 kasi x squared times x to the power of 6. Multiplication, so i-add lang natin yung exponents nung dito sa ating mga variables which are the same. Then, yung exponent ng ating x dito is 1. So, plus 1. So, 2 plus 6 plus 1 is 9. Okay, let's have our last example. 3x to the power 4 times 4x to the power 4 over 3x to the power 4 quantity raised to a power of negative 2. So, similar process. Pero I will try to answer it in a different way from what I presented in example 2. So, yung gagawin ko, alam ko na yung 3 at 3x to the power 4 multiplication ang nasa gitna. Okay, sa dalawang ito. So, ibig sabihin, we multiply the coefficients 3 times 4, 12. And then yung sa x natin, like bases. So, add lang natin sila. Dito naman sa baba, okay, meron tayong dalawang bases and then they're enclosed both in a parenthesis with an exponent negative 2. So, ibig sabihin nito, yung 3, may exponent na siya as 1 times negative 2, tsaka yung other base natin na x, exponent niya is 4, we multiply it with negative 2. So, magiging x to the power of 8. Ito naman, 3 to the power of negative 2 is 3 to the power of negative 2. At dito naman, x to the power of 4 times negative 2, negative 8. So, kung napapansin niyo meron tayong mga negative exponents. So, ibig sabihin, ililipat natin sila sa numerator. Times 3 to the power of 2 times x to the power of 8. So, yung 3 squared natin is 9. Hindi yan 6 ha, kasi exponent yan, yung 2 natin. 3 times 3 is 9. Then 9 times 12 is 108. Ito naman, yung x natin. X to the power of 8 times x to the power of 8. Meaning, we just have to add the exponents. Then, finally, 108 x to the power of 16 is our answer.